Hello, welcome to the Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. This is an event review video. These are pretty fun. I've started doing these for our old world events, and obviously, why am I not doing these for our Age of Sigmar events? I run events at the tSN Arena here in Nottingham, and we run an Age of Sigmar event at least once a month, sometimes multiple times a month. We've had loads of really big players here, as well as those big events, and this weekend was no exception. Really early into the edition, we still had 24 players turn up to battle it out. Now, if you haven't already watched, I did do a list review video on Friday for you to go check out and see which of those lists I thought would do well. This is actually the fourth Age of Sigmar 4th edition event that I've run, which has been really, really interesting. As always, the continuing questions are always, how do manifestations work? Can battle tactics interact with manifestations? There was some actually really tricky, awkward little questions, which I'm going to cover in a separate video, but generally, people were just super happy to be playing the games. It did seem, as always, like manifestations were quite impactful in the matches. People still learning how battle tactics work or even how their armies work. So still really early into the edition. That said, we had loads of pretty well-known players and a lot of players representing international teams. We had representatives from Team England and also from Team Wales at the event. And seeing as both those two teams are looking to play at the Six Nations event held in Sweden later in this year, they're already starting to train and learn what list they want to play in the future. However, the thing that was most exciting for me was the fact that my good friend, Mr. Nathan Prescott, was here playing at the event. Played 5 games with his Gloomspite kits. I don't think he finished a single one, but it looked like he was having a good time. I asked him after how he thought the event was going, and he did say that he thought it was the best version of Age of Sigmar that he's played so far. There were loads of really interesting lists. I really liked what Faren was playing. Faren was playing with a Sylvaneth list, which we covered on Friday. But the big thing about the Sylvaneth list and lots of the lists that I've been looking at the Stat Center, they always include a Lariel and also Durthu, as well as Belthanos. But he'd added another Durthu and the Warsong Revenant. I actually spoke to Faren, and we got an interview with him now talking about his Sylvaneth army, as well as with Rory, who was running his Nighthaunt army. Let's listen to those two players talk about how their weekend went.
Big monsters only. Go large or go home, and sometimes if it goes badly, go large and then go home. Yeah.
I'm Rory. I've been playing Nighthaunt, and I'm going home.
How's the weekend been?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. We always love coming to tSN. It's always a good time. It's been a bit of a stacked field this weekend. So I played, five very very difficult games. Always the best games though.
What was in your list?
So I took double Durthu, the double Ds, hashtag Gerthu. And then I took Ilario, who is basically your auto take right now in Sylvaneth. And then we took some Gossamids because I have to do tactics at some point, even if I don't want to. And then a Warsong Rev, which is just a fantastic little 210 point utility piece. So yeah, the internet doomium about Sylvaneth, it's not warranted. Like, get your Sylvaneth back out, have a nice time with it. It still works.
So yeah, I played Nighthaunt. I had a Linda, 2 units of 10 hex rates, big block of Grimghast Reapers, 2 little blocks of Grimghast Reapers, Reignor the Grimhailer, and a Cairn Wraith to make all my Grimghasts really fun. And yeah, I just ran up the board and did lots of attacks on people all weekend, and it was great. I enjoyed it, and nobody called me any mean names, so I think I got away with it at the very least.
What was your favourite game for him?
I think that's really difficult. I think maybe against Dom actually, who did he handed me a pretty hefty defeat, but it was a battle plan I'd never played before, and I just learned a lot. And obviously Dom is just a treasure, and it's just always a really nice game to play. So yeah, I think maybe my game against Dom.
Now, if you're a Gloomspite Gits fan, then this man needs no introduction. One of the best players to play on the tabletop has got to be the wonderful Dom. Dom has been an incredible representative for Team England, but also, most importantly, for fair play all around the world. And everyone always loves playing Dom. Dom has won multiple Best Sports awards, and he was playing with his Trogg army. I've actually spoken to him a couple of times leading up to this event, and we talked about how taking smaller units to score battle tactics were quite key, and it might be one of those key things that you see in lists in the future. But don't take my word for it. Let's listen to Dom and what he's got to say about his games. I'm joined by Dom.
Hi everyone. Hi Rob.
What were you playing this weekend?
Troggs. Had to be Troggs. First event of 4th. Troggs are great now. All the Troggs.
What is in the list?
So 18 rockets. So basically, it's 90 wounds on a 4 or 5 up. Raw's not really kicking around anymore, so you can pretty reliably on the 3 up, 5 up with a moon or an all-out defense. Trug, who just dishes out some buffs, so you can get him on +1 attack, give them extra rounds. He himself's pretty survivable. Dankle Trog Boss, who just dishes out +1 attack. -1 to hit himself, can be a wizard, and then Gobberpalooza, then a couple of speedy units, which was 5 Ripper Snarlfangs and 5 Pounders, which just sort of zip around getting your tactics. But the meat and potatoes is the Trogs.
Would you suggest adding those little units for doing tactics? Or are they key, or do you just want more rockets?
I think they're really important actually, because they're the problem if you just take rockets, I think you have a much easier army to control because your opponent knows you've got an 18-inch threat range. They know that you can't run in charge. Whereas when you bring a couple of faster units, like in my last game, I was using them to steal the back objectives. Ripper Snarlfangs are a really good trap to stop tactics because they can move D6 in your opponent's movement phase and then you can redeploy them. So if someone chooses them for a tactic, you can just eat them away. So I really like those little throwaway units to both score tactics early and steal back objectives without having to sacrifice a brick of Trogs to do it, for example. So,
what was your favourite game this weekend?
Ooh, my favourite game. That's a really tricky one. Who'd I play? Faren, 4th, just played Paul. I actually think, I'm not saying this because I'm stood across from him, I think probably I really enjoyed this one, I think, because it was 6 objectives. We both had loads of ways to counter each other's list. We had loads of techie parts of our list. So it wasn't just a stand on 2 objectives with Trogs and fight. I was having to really spread out and think about how to stop his tactics. He was doing the same. So this one felt like a good final competitive game with lots of counterplay. So I'd say this one.
Any advice for people that want to go to events?
Just go, basically, and come here. This is a wonderful venue, wonderful people, and it's honestly the Age of Sigmar competitive community is absolutely wonderful. I think it can probably feel a bit scary, it's never been before, but I can literally probably count on one hand the amount of games I've had which haven't been enjoyable. It's wonderful. Just go to an event, take an army you love, don't worry too much about the meta, especially at the moment, no one really knows what that is. We're all just trying stuff out and figuring it out. Take an army you love, go to an event, have a great time, make lots of friends.
Now, speaking about best sports, Joshua won our best sports award at the event with his Skaven with 5 out of 5 votes. So congratulations to him. Whenever we run an event and give out a best sports award, that player always gets a free ticket to the next event because those are the sorts of people who I want to play at the events. Our coolest army award was the absolutely fantastic Dean Limuth with his stunning Sylvaneth army. Every single event, we always run a coolest army, which is player voted, and he got an absolutely massive amount of awards. But the hobby level at this event was really, really high. There were some of the new Stormcast models on display, which I thought looked amazing. It was great to see armies of Trogs, and yes, even though Nighthaunt are currently kind of the big bad in the game, their armies on the tabletop looked really cool, and it was really fun to see them in the best painted awards. One of the standout armies to me when I was looking around all the armies was Phil Springall's. Now, Phil has done loads of conversions on his Khorne-themed army, and this is also true for many of the other armies he's played over the course of the past few years. Phil has won, just this year alone, at least 2 different best overalls at different events around the world. So it wasn't surprised to see him bring an absolutely A-game army and also what he thinks is going to be an A-game army to play on the tabletop, which many people don't think Khorne is very good, which Phil doesn't agree with. Let's listen to Phil now and find out his thoughts on the army. I'm joined by one of the world's best players, Phil Springall. Hello.
Hi, who is he?
What were you playing this weekend?
I was playing Blades of Khorne with Mortals, so Skull Reapers and Wrathmongers, and some heroes.
What did you like about those units that made you want to bring them?
I like the fact that everyone thinks that Khorne is rubbish now, and I was trying to show everyone that Khorne's still good, Mudlust is still great, and Skull Reapers hit really well.
What was your favorite interaction you had over the weekend?
My favourite interaction was in my very first game. I had some Wrathmongers, and they do mortal wounds back when you hit them on 1s.
Okay.
And Yindrasta tried to kill them. She completely killed the unit, and then she killed herself back.
What was your favourite match over the weekend?
The one I just played now was really fun. Sylvaneth on 6 objectives is quite hard, and trying to bully them in the midboard so that they felt like they had to, make bigger plays than they needed to try and get into the game. Felt good. Yeah. It was really
Any major takeaways that people at home should be thinking about?
Mudlust is really good. Skull Reaper is really good. And Khorne is super fun to play, especially when you are playing with Bird Khorne.
And then finally, any advice for people that want to go to events?
Just play what you love and have fun doing it.
Another army people don't think is very good is Disciples of Tzeentch. And Dave Towsey was playing in the very final game to win the event with his Tzeentch list. He was running all Zangors, and he was running a very punchy version of a Tzeentch list. And I didn't really think it would work, but it was working really, really well. I think he's definitely inspired me to play Tzeentch, but let's hear from David now and what he thought about running Tzeentch at the event. I'm joined by award-winning author David Towsey. Hello.
Hi Rob, how you doing? I'm good.
So you were playing Tzeentch this weekend. Can you tell us what was in your list?
Yeah, I was playing a lot of Skyfires, 2 blocks of Zangor, Kairos, the big bean chicken, yeah, it was great. Loads of fun, loads of shooting, loads of magic, loads of goat boys running up the board.
We were talking about the fact that it's more of like an aggro Tzeentch list. Like, how have you felt about like your ability to kill stuff?
It's just great to have that option. The Destiny dice mechanic is still strong, so at various points you're like, do I want to just block someone in with 40 wounds on a 5-up save, 5-up ward, -1 to hit, Zangor block, and like other Tzeentch builds, I've seen them, tried them, but they don't have that option. Like they're much more controlling, but just being able to, put your foot down and go. Especially, even in 4th with the double turn option. Sometimes that just feels like the right play. Against Seraphon in round four, I was lucky enough to get that double, and it was like, yeah, we go. And Tzeentch hasn't always had that, but this kind of Zangor list does.
Is there like a favorite interaction that you had over the weekend, or like a favorite play that you did?
There were definitely points, I think, where, favourite is strong, but covering fire is really good. And then there are definitely those moments where someone sets up to make a big charge and you're covering fire with the 6 Skyfires, and you can see it on their face, they have to reevaluate. They're like, oh, I'm not sure I want to go in now. And you're like, so that's fun. Kairos is still like just fun, just spitting out spells and things like that. Being able to... so in your opponent's turn, put the 5-up ward on 1 block of Zangors, and then in your turn, put the 5-up ward on another block as well. The other way around, actually. So that in your opponent's turn, both blocks have the 5-up ward. That's just really strong as a castle front line.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool. Is there any advice you give to people who want to go to events?
Just go to as many as you can, just have a great time. I think just be, because it's a social thing, obviously, and that's, some can be a struggle for some people. Tournament players are lovely, they're open, chatty people. We all have a social battery, so sometimes we take ourselves off and just recharge that. But you want to chat to people at tournaments. We're always open and willing to do that, and just jump in. It's a great scene.
Any shout outs before we go?
Team Wales, and absolutely representing all those guys, love them. They've been cheering us on for the whole weekend, so that's been great. And then I play down in Firestorm in Cardiff, so the kind of crew down there, Crimson Drakes, we sometimes call ourselves. So look out for that. And of course, buy my books.
Yes, buy his books. There'll be a link. Okay, see you soon. Bye. Now, one of the cool things that I did at this event, which I am really proud of, was we finally set up all of the tables to be able to stream from and stream into our Patreon Discord. Normally, when I live stream events like the Age of Sigmar World Championships or something similar, it actually takes a lot of people to help make a live stream happen. However, one of the really easiest things to do is, well, it's not easy, it takes a lot of setup to do, but an easy thing resource-wise is just to have a top-down camera, some really good player mics, and also be able to get the score live updated thanks to the amazing website that we use this weekend to do the pairings, Malarkey. Thanks to Malarkey having a scorecard built in that you're able to use to track your scores, I was able to make it so that people could play their games and just do their normal thing, but also their games are streamed to Discord. And so people in my Discord community were watching the matches. And what was really cute was friends of the people playing were jumping in the Discord chat, and then the players could see the Discord chat and they were shouting each other out, and it felt really homely and collaborative, which I thought was wonderful. So I really like seeing that, and hopefully I can do that more in the future. And if you are one of the people that watch that, let me know in the comments below, because I thought that was super cool. And I just enjoyed it. I was just sat in the office listening to them play games, having a great time. Taking a look at the leaderboard, we can see that Alan Joins actually took the event out. Congratulations to him. He was very on the ball with his absolutely stunning Nighthawk army that was very, very tough to deal with, only dropping 1 draw against Phil with his Khorne. And then our 3 4-0s were Tavi with his Seraphon, David Towsey with his Tzeentch, and Dom Stonebridge with his Gloomspite Git, so all the rock guts. It was a great event. I love running events, and I hope these kind of review videos at the end of the event help give you some insight into what it's like playing here, or generally just playing an event anyway. People are lovely, and seeing as it was so early in the edition, lots of the players were trying really hard to help each other out with special rules or how things were working, you know, manifestations and all those things. And it was really wonderful to see. It's still super early in the edition, and I think one of the things you heard many of the players say was, don't worry about what the internet is saying. Just get your favorite models, get on the tabletop, and start playing games, because that is really, I think, one of the main points about playing war games. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of them in the comments below. I hope to see you at an event in the future. If I don't see you at one of mine, hopefully I'll see you at a different one in the future. But thanks very much for watching my video, and I'll see you soon.